such a classic.
I love
But
that.
He's an interesting character. What I love is in the Peanuts cartoons and comics, all the characters are kids, but they talk like adults. They have these conversations that sound so grown up. Oh, and Delay, as the person who doesn't know Charlie Brown, you do know his dog. His dog is Snoopy.
Oh, I know
Snoopy?
who this is now. Cool.
Everybody know who he is.
Okay, I know who he is now.
I was gonna say, like,
All of us
you know Charlie Brown, you know Snoopy.
Oh
okay.
yeah, okay, cool. Let's go. I know what should I draw. I should draw Snoopy.
I used to have a Snoopy toy from McDonald's.
Well, I will tell you, Delay, that my plan was Charlie Brown today, Snoopy tomorrow. I was going to work through some Peanuts characters this week. But yeah, feel free, jump into Snoopy. And I'm also going to do it tomorrow.
I think Snoopy is really, really like easy. It's just like a big head and a body.
Well, I was actually just going to talk to you about
that.
that. Even Charlie Brown, I look at him and I'm like, this is going to be really easy. But sometimes the easier things are tougher to draw because when there's only a couple of shapes, if you don't get them right, it's a little tricky. But here we go. Let's get started with Charlie Brown. I'm going to draw with my blue marker again just so you guys can see. And you start with a circle. You see me? I do my practice, my warm-up circles before I put the mark down. Something like that. And his head is almost as big as the whole rest of his body. Now, Charlie Brown actually breaks some rules when drawing. Usually when I draw children, and this is a standard thing, you draw the eyes a little bit lower on the head. Like an adult, you draw right in the middle, the eyes. A child, you usually draw a little below. I'll draw. Here's my midline. You don't need to draw that in. So for a kid, I'd usually draw below. For an adult, I'd draw right in the middle. But Charlie Brown breaks the rules. His eyes go a little bit above the middle. And they're just a couple of dots. Like this. And then his nose goes right in between his eyes. Very not subtle. And it's like a sideways U. Like that. It looks ridiculous at first. It's funny because I was telling Delay that I practice these before I draw them with you guys to make sure I know what I'm doing. And
I have two sets of silly cents.
And with Charlie Brown, I had a lot of false starts because it just looks wrong at first. And you can give him some eyebrows. Charlie Brown is usually in some form of distress, it seems to me. He's always anxious about something.
I mean,
Which I think is actually kind of cool. I think that was probably pretty rare when this started to have a kid character being nervous. I think they're usually just playing and having fun. All right, he does have two ears that pop off the sides. Usually this one's a little bigger. And they should be lined up with his eyes and nose, like about the same height, maybe a little bit below. And they are also almost like sideways U's. Now we could do...
Mr. Berry, who's your favorite cartoon character?
Ooh. Growing up, Charlie Brown and Garfield were my favorite cartoon characters. At some point, I have to say SpongeBob, amazing character.
SpongeBob SquarePants!
I loved The Simpsons when I was growing up. Yes.
How about we do SpongeBob next time?
I will put SpongeBob on the list. I think that's a great idea. But I think next time, tomorrow, I'm going to do Snoopy. I'm going to do a Peanuts week. But I'll put SpongeBob on the list. We'll get to him one of these days. I'm going to write it down so I don't forget.
Why don't you do The Simpsons?
What about a
'cause
corgi?
they're probably not elementary appropriate. I'm writing down SpongeBob right now.
Simpsons and my mom abandoned me from
Corgi.
Yeah, they're not really okay for kids. All right.
I watch Simpsons.
All right, my friends. I'm going to ask you to stop calling out, please, so I can get back to drawing my Charlie Brown here.
Go
All right. Charlie Brown, even when he's smiling, I really liked how Charles Schultz was the creator. Even when Charlie Brown was happy and smiling, he would make his smile kind of wiggly, like he was uncomfortable. And I always thought that was really cool. Like, he's happy, but he's just not sure. And strangely, I don't know if they ever addressed this in the cartoon. Charlie Brown is essentially bald. He has like one single hair on his head that does this little loop-de-loop thing, like a little bump thing like that. It's just little one curl. They never really talk about it, as far as I remember. So then his body, if you guys are ready, kind of comes down in sort of a triangular shape. Like this. And then it flattens out into sort of, I'll draw a little, you don't need to have all of this, but I'm drawing a little rectangle below. Like it comes down sort of triangular, and then a rectangle. He has a little collared shirt, so I draw a triangle like this coming down from one side, and a triangle like this coming down from the other side, and then they can meet in the middle. I can actually hear someone's pencil moving. I love it. His legs are pretty simple. So I draw one, he's got these little stubby legs. Just comes down like this. And then his feet are almost like potatoes. Just a kind of squished oval. Something like that.
Make cool lines. I'm using like a dried out green marker.
Cool. And then you can draw the foot behind it by just doing two stubby lines again. And another squashed potato shape with a few lines for laces, I think.
Yeah,
Do need to give him
2 sets because one has a bad green and one has a good green.
All right, I'm gonna add an arm in. I'll start with the sleeve of his shirt, kind of follows this line. Maybe about halfway down that triangular part. Comes across and goes up a little bit, just like that. Then you can have his arm hang down. 2 lines, almost simple, just like we did his legs. 2 lines for his arm coming down.
And a potato.
And then to draw his hand, there's lots of ways. He'd usually just do a little bump. That's like his hand, or it's like this part of his hand. And then he does these little nubby fingers. So I would just draw one finger like that, and then do some bumps afterwards. Simple like that. And I think I've shorted him one finger. So I'm gonna have one finger sticking out like this.
Maybe you could do Snoopy behind him, like he's tapping Snoopy.
I'm not going to be able to get to Snoopy today, I can tell just looking at time. But if you want to save your Charlie Brown drawing, knowing that I'm going to make a video tomorrow drawing Snoopy, you could save a spot to have Snoopy behind him. That's actually a pretty cool idea. You could keep this drawing going for a couple of days if you want. And even if you don't get to the live drawing time, I do record these and I post them on the website so you can check back in. All right, let's draw. So Charlie Brown has this long shirt that comes down almost to the bottom of his shorts. And his shirt is very iconic. It has this zigzag line that goes across. It's a thick line. So you have to do 2 zigzag lines that match each other. And that would be colored in black. I'm just filling in my blue for now. And his shorts would also be just colored in. You actually can't tell the difference between the 2 legs, at least in the cartoon, the comic strip. I don't know about on the animated movies. You can probably tell when he walks.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he walks really like not weird. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
not.
I'm having a hard time. When I try to picture them moving, I just see him dancing. Because there's a couple of famous dance scenes.
No,
One of the friends is a musician, and he always gets a part in the cartoons.
all the cartoon character walks. Usually, they walk like they don't move their hand and they don't like bow or whatever, but their legs just move and their
Yeah, you see the legs just.
yeah, like yeah, and their upper bodies like what the heck?
Just
you
super
have
still. I'm gonna draw Charlie Brown having an idea, so he does this little thing where he holds his hand up when he has an idea.
Ding!
So I'm just gonna draw his sleeve kind of poking out here. And you want to try and match it up so it's about the same size as the other sleeve. And then I'm gonna have his arm. This is gonna be a little tricky, kind of curling up like this into his finger. That's like pointing up like, I've got an idea. And his thumb will stick out. And then his other fingers will just curl around like that. And then you can curve his arm back.
I got a metal ruler.
I think I drew his arm a little too long there. It is one of the trickier things. Again, like Delai was saying about, I think it was Delai, someone was saying how easy Snoopy looks to draw. And I said the same thing about Charlie Brown. And then every time I go to draw him, I'm surprised at how kind of challenging this is.
Okay, I'm finished with my Snoopy. Or I'm not. I am?
Trying to think if there's any other little details on Charlie Brown that I've forgotten. I think that's about it. Now you could put him in any sort of setting. A famous one would be from that Halloween special. It's the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown, and you could put him into like a pumpkin patch.
Okay, there we go. I'm finished.
We are all not all finished, but some of us are finished.
So you might want to put Charlie Brown into a scene. Maybe he's in a classroom, maybe he's in his house, maybe he's in a pumpkin patch like mine.
Oh,
I actually don't remember a lot of things about Charlie Brown. It was like one of my childhood things, like when I'm 3 or 4, but I don't really remember cartoons.
Yeah, you haven't really.
Yeah.
They're pretty good. I mean, I don't know. They're probably not for everybody, but you know, worth checking out.
it just when you
Most